Welcome, welcome! It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today's video is gameplay that we captured last night. My org mates and I went out on a few different missions. We did some claim jumper missions. We did some bounty hunting. We bounty hunted some player characters. Some 5-star criminals that racked up 10,000 plus UEC bounties. Those were definitely a lot of fun to do. We chased down a few guys, and a couple of guys in the process of chasing down, we weren't successful in getting their bounties. Somebody else did. And it was kind of humorous. We finished the night chasing down a bounty that was never to come. The guy pretty much outsmarted the entire server. He waited and waited and waited, and he escaped Everest Harbor and was able to get to Grim Hex safely. It was quite the play for him, and it was a lot of fun for everybody else. Although a lot of people had to sit around and wait, it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to show you that part of the gameplay last night because it is a little bit drawn out. It's more talking than playing, actually. So what I am going to show you is the first part of the night where we decided we were going to pick up a bounty and chase it all over the system. But first, I'm in my 890 jump, and I want to get my guys on board. You know, we could take separate ships, but what fun would that be? We want to have a party while we travel the verse. We got to go in style, right? So the 890 jump is a really awesome vessel. I mean, it's beautiful. Like I said, you can host parties, VIPs. You can operate it with a minimal crew. I mean, honestly, the brochure was saying you could fly it with one person. That's not going to happen very well. At least not in the current state of the game when NPCs aren't involved or anything like that. You really need to have, if you want to be optimal, your pilot, you need to have 2 remote gunners, one on the remote laser cannons. There's 2 of those that are synced together. And then there's also 2 remote missile launchers that are synced together. And then there's 2 manned turrets. One in the up top in the front and one towards the back underneath the ship. So you need 5 people to operate this comfortably. And if you really want to, as you can see, one of my org mates is landing his ship here. This is Iron Sturm. He's landing a Hurricane on the hangar once he turns around. And if you want, you can have 1 or 2 extra players to run a fighter ship like this one. It's quite effective to be able to launch this guy from the hangar bay and go after whoever it is that you're chasing after. It makes for fun gameplay as well, having those guys on the alert fighter, so to speak, while you also have guys on the gunner positions. We didn't have the full crew at this time to do that. Later on in the evening, we got more and more people on. We could have feasibly done that, but we had moved away from 890 jump meta to a bunch of smaller ships, chasing things down individually, and everybody kind of doing their own dogfighting when we get into the large-scale claim jumper missions. Claim jumper missions are very good for making money. I think they're 10,000 UEC each, but you really need to have a ship that's got some shields, because the stationary I guess sentry units that are out there have some pretty devastating guns on there, and if they focus you down, they'll go through your shields pretty quick if you have a smaller ship. I would recommend something like a Cutlass or a Vanguard or a Freelancer. Anything of that size shouldn't have too much problem doing the claim jumper missions. You've just got those sentries to kill. There's 9 of them to shoot down, and then you also have quite a few prospectors to shoot down, which shouldn't be a big deal for a ship like that. So I picked up Sturm, and now we're going to go get Wrathchild. We just happened to all be at different places in the verse, all over the Stanton system. I was at Hurston, Iron Sturm was at Port Olisar, Wrathchild was at Hurston L3. Why in the world he was at Hurston L3, I have no idea. But he was, so we were going to pick him up. I believe he was actually looking for arms. There is an arms dealer in that location, and he was wanting to buy some weapons in case we were going to do a first-person shooter type mission, which is so bugged we decided we're not even going to attempt it until 3.8.1 and hope that they fixed. As you can see here, we're going into the mission window. F1 to get the Moby Glass up, and then click on the contracts, which is the last tab there, and we're going down to mercenary. We always get that call to arms because you get bonus money for all the pirates you shoot. And then we were going to try a personal mission, but that wasn't going to work because we couldn't share it. So we ended up abandoning that idea, and as you can see, I untrack it, and we move over to Bounty Hunter, and we're going to choose to chase after this guy here, and then I will end up sharing that with the rest of the party. So there's a good 4 or 5 of us. Once I hit that share button, they get a little window that pops up saying press left bracket to accept, right bracket to decline, and then we're on our way. The chase is on, and it takes us to Crusader, and then I believe we end up going to Daymar and the Cove Lake station, and he is being engaged right now, and I am closing the 890 on him so that we can get bring our guns to bear as well, which you can see fire guys are shooting at him. I ram him. Somehow he's in an Aurora MR and he survives me ramming him in an 890 jump. I'm not sure how in the world that happens. My hat's off to RSI for building a heck of a ship. It can survive a ramming from an 890 jump. That's just amazing. And here you're going to see he's going to quantum out of there. He jumps away, and we're going to start chasing after him. This is kind of how the bounty missions will go. A lot of times these guys who've committed their crimes will have to run because it's overwhelming odds against them. I mean, that's the way it should be as well. Sometimes they can turn the tables, though, and they may have a bigger, better ship, and you're a little surprised when you get there to try to collect the bounty. I mean, if that guy would have been in a hammerhead, then we would have had an interesting fight. Of course, he would have had to have the guys to back him up in the hammerhead. You know, it's one of those things, if you're going to have a bounty on your head, you better have some friends to help protect you, or you're going to have to deal with that bounty. And the only ways to get rid of your bounty is hacking the computer systems at all the security stations around Stanton, which is a long, tedious process, and to be honest, the last time I did it, it bugged out on me. And the other way, now we're getting attacked by pirates as we're chasing this guy. The other way would be to get killed by somebody that's hunting your bounty, or a guard, such as at Hurston, the security forces there, or sometimes you can have security guys at Correa do it. That will instantly get rid of your bounty. But of course, you die, so you'll have to spawn somewhere else. But nobody else gets your bounty if you let security forces do it. So bonuses and negatives to all of that. In the future, you won't be able to get out of it that easily. And in 3.9, they're going to have the prison system in place, so you'll actually wake up in jail probably, and you'll have to work off your crime. As you can see here, I am now getting into a remote turret, a missile turret on the 890 to help with these pirates. My guys just aren't getting the job done. No, they're doing great. But there were definitely, I think, 4 pirate ships that we were having to deal with, and 3 of them were Buccaneers, so they were super quick. and maneuverable. So it was really hard to track them because turret gameplay just isn't great. It's not horrible, but it's not great. And as you can see, I'm targeting this guy and launching my missiles. And I believe they got into the hurricane to take them on in the air, so it's just me trying to fire missiles at some of these guys while they're in the hurricane trying to shoot them down. And 2 people in a hurricane is pretty devastating because you've got that turret gunner that gets 4 guns. I mean, in 4 size 3s, I believe. It could be 4 size 4s. I think they're 4 size 3s. So it's a, they call it a glass cannon, but man, it can put out some punishment. So if you can ever team up in a hurricane, you can do some real damage. So we're taking on these pirates, and I believe that our mission to capture our bounty ends up failing because somebody else gets the bounty. I'm going to get up and go over back to the pilot seat. I need to raise the hangar platform so they can land the hurricane. We finished off all the pirates. As you can see, the bay is still open. And I'm trying to see where they're coming from. And we did lose that bounty, but we did take out some pirates and got paid for it. So as they're maneuvering to get into the bay, I'm gonna switch over to first person view here, and we're gonna pull the floor up so they can land on the hangar floor before it descends back into the belly of the ship. So guys, I know that you didn't get to see a whole lot of the bounty mission because that's kind of the way bounty missions go. They can be long and prolonged. Sometimes they can be super quick, but it is a really fun way to play with friends, chasing after PC bounties. There's a lot of emergent gameplay that can be had from that, and that's something that CIG really wants from the player base, is these different forms of emergent gameplay. I highly recommend you team up with a few people, not just 1 or 2. Go with 4, 5, or 6, or even 10. Get a big party together. See how much fun that can really be. You're not going to make a lot of money probably, unless you just do missions all night long, but it's going to be a lot of fun, I promise you. You're going to enjoy it. The interaction you have with everybody is going to be great. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell to know whenever I got another video. I'll see you guys out in the verse.